Yes, ma'am. Your day and your baby.
I'll just stand right here.
You want to have some come on this side?
Okay, you need to get up here and I'll stand back here. I'll stand behind you.
Let her get up here.
Okay.
Come on, stay right here. You stay right here.
You want me to stay
You
here?
stay right here.
Okay.
You stay right in the center.
All right.
Everybody set? Are you all ready? Thank you all for your patience. This day has been a long time coming. A long time coming. I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Harry Daniels and Attorney Sue Ann Robinson and Attorney Gabrielle Higgins and Georgia NAACP President Griggs. We have the honor of representing the family of Leonard Cure. We have his sisters and brothers present with us, Tina, Maria, his brothers, Wallace and Michael, and most importantly, we have his mama, Mary. This is her day. She has fought for justice for her son his whole life, and she's been fighting for justice after they killed him. And she will not stop until we get justice for Leonard Cure. I'm so happy, Miss Mary, because I know how long you fought for your baby to get some measure of justice.
Well, a lot of people think that it just happened after he was killed, but we had 16 and a half years of him being incarcerated for false conviction. So it started a long time ago.
Yes, ma'am. And she said she'd been fighting even when he was wrongfully incarcerated for 16 and a half years.
All right, okay.
And so we should start there. We want to thank the Innocence Project. I have the pleasure of being on their board with Seth Miller, Barry Scheck, and so many other great lawyers who fight for people who have been wrongfully convicted. And many of them because they happen to be a certain color and be in the wrong place at the wrong time, which was absolutely what happened to Mary's son Leonard in Broward County, Florida. And Attorney Daniels is so mind-boggling. From day one, Leonard said, you got the wrong person. You got the wrong person. I got proof. I got exculpatory evidence that can prove it's the wrong person. He had pictures of him at an ATM with the PIN number that he put in, and they still put this black man in prison for 16 and a half years. And 16 and a half years when everybody was giving up on Leonard. It was his sisters and brothers and his mother, Mary, who never gave up on him. And this is about their day. This is their day because this family has fought so hard for simple justice. The fact that when they finally got him exonerated, and then the Florida legislature finally passed a compensation package for him. He had just bought a home in Atlanta, Georgia. He's coming back on the highway here and on I-95. Camden County Sheriff's Deputy, Buck Aldridge. The person who the Department of Justice indicted on 13 counts, Attorney Daniels?
13 counts.
13 counts of all kinds of misconduct and violation of civil rights. Killed her baby. Killed her baby. You saw the video. And there were other videos that existed of Buck Aldridge engaging in excessive use of force, mainly against black people. And finally, his day has come. You know, some would call it poetic justice. The fact that Buck Aldridge, who killed her son after being wrongfully convicted of 16 and a half years, wouldn't it be poetic justice if he was convicted and got sentenced to 16 and a half years?
Yes, would be.
We intend to make sure that his mother and their family get full justice, not just partial justice. As you all know, Attorney Daniels and I filed a $16 million lawsuit representing every year that he was wrongfully convicted for this police officer, this Camden County Sheriff's deputy, being charged with the 13 these counts, but because he killed him on the side of that road. And we don't want to let them sweep it under the rug. We don't want to let them say that Leonard Cure life didn't matter. They quickly try to paint us as criminals, as thugs, as nefarious. Well, the truth of the matter is Leonard was wrongfully convicted. But we believe when a jury convicts Buck Aldridge, it will be a rightful conviction for not only Leonard, but so many other citizens here in Camden County who had to deal with that abuse. Miss Mary fought so hard to try to get justice for her son while he was alive. We pray that she will be able to get justice for him in his death, his wrongful death. And we stand with you, Miss Mary, and I know sometimes you think when you're by yourself about Leonard and why he had to go through this. Well, God is using Leonard for a testimony for all those other sisters and brothers who continue to say we were wrongfully convicted, to not give up. Leonard never gave up, and you never gave up. And so this is your day, Miss Mary. This is your day. At this time, you're going to hear from my great co-counsel, Attorney Harry Daniels, who has a long history of bringing constitutional challenges here against the Camden County Sheriff's Department. And he's going to make it plain. And after Attorney Daniels speaks, you're going to hear from some of the family members, and then you will hear from Miss Mary Cure. And then we will take your questions. But make no mistake about it. The federal prosecutors brought the charge, but this is a praying mama, and this day happened because of Mary Cure. Justice for Leonard Cure.
Justice for Leonard Cure.
Thank you, Ben. You know, it's fitting that we're in the house of the Lord. The Bible says you reap what you sow. And Buck Aldridge sowed a lot of discord, a lot of unlawful use of force, violence, lies. You see, when the indictment came out, and we're aware that the indictment doesn't address Leonard directly, but you know, Leonard Cure case shine a light on these injustices of the things that happened before he was hired at the Camden County Sheriff Office, the things that happened while he was at the Camden County Sheriff Office. And our lawsuit, although we're in litigation, speaks directly to those things. One, talking about the propensity of violence that he had. I can't help but to think about when Leonard was pulled over and the indicted, and I'm gonna call him the indicted, and Leonard asked him, well, if I was speeding, just give me a ticket. But Buck Aldridge didn't want to just give him a ticket. He wanted to do what he's done in the past. He wanted to use that taser. He wanted to be violent as such, and it led to the death of Leonard. Now, we're not going to get details in the particulars of this lawsuit. Like I said, we're in litigation. But be mindful, be very mindful that the Cure family, it was the driving force of Buck Aldridge indictment.
Amen.
Let me repeat that. That what happened to Leonard was a driving force for so many who have been terrorized by this so-called deputy. And being, if I'm not mistaken, he was a sergeant at the Camden County Sheriff Office. See, we have history with the Camden County Sheriff Office, with the former Sheriff Proctor, where they beat a man inside a jail cell. And that one of those deputies, well, it's fitting now, he's an inmate now. One of those deputies was recently sent to federal prison for 13 months. But here's the thing. Jared Hobbs was charged with multiple felonies. Even though the president of the NAACP, Tim Besser, who's not here, went to the sheriff and asked what's going on. And he allowed these false reports. And I echo false reports because Buck Aldridge was indicted for making false reports. 9 counts. They carried up to 20 years in the federal penitentiary. He allowed these false reports to move forward in the Jared Hobbs case, but not until a defense attorney get in contact with us and we see the video and we know what really happened to Jared Hobbs. You got another young lady, who was a grandmother who was drug out of a car, head slammed while handcuffed into the hood of a police car. And the officer who committed the act was later indicted. But before she was indicted, she was promoted and given Officer of the Year. That's a problem. That's an epidemic. Buck Aldridge was on the streets because of that problem. Because the sheriff did not have accountability for his officers. So he was allowed to roam and do the things he did, which led him to Leonard Cure. We are here standing with his family. And you know, I had a case, this case reminded me of a case I had in Jacksonville by an officer named Jose Garriga. I know y'all Jacksonville people, y'all know who I'm talking about. He was accused of killing Jamie Johnson, beating other people, and killing other folks. And he kept getting away with it. But like I said before, you reap what you sow. And we believe that it is time, and the time is now, that Buck Aldridge, anybody else, has been placed on notice, and I always say this, Ben, no matter you wear a badge, shield, or star. Accountability is for all. With that being said, who we bring up next?
That's Brian Wallace. Let me say this here,
okay,
because it's important to know, as Attorney Daniels talked about the pattern and practice. You all remember when the local district attorney announced that he was not going to bring charges against Buck Aldridge for killing Leonard Cure. We then said, but look at his history. And we showed a video. Attorney Daniels and I, y'all remember, family, released a video. NAACP representative.
Raymond Cash.
Yeah, Alfonso Daniels. We released a video of another young black man being brutally beaten and tased and stomped on.
And that's a part of the indictment.
And that is in the indictment. And, you know, the local district attorney had access to all of this video and evidence, just like the federal prosecutors. But if we wouldn't have been persistent in trying to expose the corruption, seemed like the sheriff was just fine with it. They were just fine with violating the constitutional rights of citizens, violating the civil rights of citizens, brutalizing citizens. And so I'm so thankful to Attorney Daniels, Alfonso McClendon, and NAACP, Attorney Robinson, because we have to document this stuff. We keep having to show America a mirror and say, look at the hypocrisy. Look at the two justice systems. two justice systems where Leonard Cure can be completely innocent and go to prison for 16 and a half years. And people who, because they have a gun and a badge, can commit crime after crime and nothing happened. So we continue to hold that mirror up to America's face. And hopefully in that mirror, America, you see the face of Leonard Cure.
Yes.
Wallace Cure, his brother.
I'd like to thank Ben Crump and all the folks that assist him and work with him in seeking justice for my brother Leonard. I'd like to thank the pastor, Pastor Wright, for allowing us this venue
Yes, sir.
to express ourselves and to seek justice for my brother.
Yes, sir.
My brother was a gentle person. He loved to dance. He graduated from Miami Central High. He played running back for the Central Rockets. He was gentle with us. He was gentle with his nieces and his nephews. I thank God for a praying mom who never gave up on any of her children. Having said that,
Yes.
I would like to further say that Sheriff Proctor needs to be held accountable just as much as Buck Aldridge.
Wow.
Because it's his responsibility to know who he's hiring. There is no way that this officer could get fired and all these reprimands and write-ups and the hiring sheriff does not know. If you employ someone, it is your responsibility to do a background check and to make sure and vet them. This was a loose cannon, a rogue cop. In addition to that, I'd like to say that the district attorney, Higgins, needs to grow a spine. If you're going to represent justice, let it be justice for all. It could be for the street pharmacist as well as it should be for the person standing behind the badge, wearing the shield. It has to be distributed equally. Serve all the people that you represent. Grow a spine.
Thank you very much, Wallace. Michael?
Today,
Take your time.
today is a good day. Thanks to the Department of Justice, a corrupt murderer is off the streets. This means that other families will be spared the heartache and pain that our family has been forced to endure. The corruption that permeates police agencies in America is atrocious. A corrupt police department took our brother and our mother's son for 16 years. Now this corrupt police department has taken him permanently.
Wow.
Please understand that corruption did not start with Buck, but it was definitely tolerated by him and his corrupt colleagues. And you need to know that what you tolerate, you cannot change.
Yeah.
So yesterday, the Department of Justice decided that this individual's corruption must be stopped. Hopefully justice will be served and he will be sent to prison for his corrupt deeds. And it will set a precedent for his department and other departments across this country that this nonsense and this type of behavior will not be tolerated. Justice for Leonard Cure.
Justice for Leonard Cure. Any one of you? You sure? You sure? His sisters are being a little shy. Okay. So, Attorney Daniels, I still remember meeting Leonard Cure when we had one of the Innocence Project's exoneration galas. He talked so enthusiastically about saying, don't give up. If you're innocent and you did nothing wrong, don't lie on yourself. And it was so heartbreaking when Seth Miller, who is the director of the Innocence Project for the state of Florida, and Miss Mary called me to say that Leonard had been killed because we had just celebrated his exoneration and his freedom. We had celebrated the Florida legislature, saying that he deserves some compensation for the willful conviction by the Broward County's district attorney's office, and that we were celebrating he was starting his new life. And so it was just so heartbreaking to hear this mother crying about how they killed him. They stole him from me, and now they killed him. And she has just never given up on the fact that God was going to get her justice. And so, Miss Mary, we say again, this is your day. This is your day, and we're so proud to stand with you. You all, Mary Cure, the mother of Leonard Cure.
Good afternoon, media. So glad you guys could be here. I'd like to say thanks to the pastor for allowing us to have this venue. Proud of my sons for representing. Proud of the attorneys that we have and the people that follow them and assist them. And I want you to know a few things about Leonard. Leonard was a very proud, spiritual person. He was not a liar. And one of the things that bothered him the most was if he was called a liar, he would do everything in his power to prove that he was telling the truth. But in this journey that he and I had together, it was long, it was tedious, and it was very painful. Because for every door that closed on him, that meant that I would be behind that door too. So half of me was behind the door, the other half was out the door. So I've got 8 children. So a lot of my time is dedicated to him. So my other children didn't have me, but they understood that I would give my life for my son, knowing that he was right. And I will continue to fight for him. This is just a starting point. Unfortunately, it has been my, God's choosing rather, that I should stand here, and it's my son whom I weep over. But his death is going to help a lot of people. That is my prayer, that it will help a lot of people not to have to stand here where I'm standing, shed another tear. I walked the floor many nights. A lot of people say he'll never get out of jail. When I went to see him, one of the hardest things that hurt me so much was every month they get a letter, an accounting of their progress. On those progress reports is 999, which means that you're never going to get out of here. You'll die. So he collected those, and I kept them. And I died every time I read them, every time. But I told him each time I left the prison, one day I'm going to come back and I'm going to take you home. That's right. One day. That's right. So I walked the floors and I cried. I did research. I helped with his 2254. I did a lot of things for him because we ran out of money. And nobody wanted to help. No one wanted to help. The family, we were penniless by now because legal representation, good legal representation is quite costly, but it's so worth it. I know because I put in a lot of hours and I'm not an attorney. So what I began doing, I used to make notes to God all the time, but when Lenny went to prison, I started to write God a letter every month. And I still do it. On those letters, I tell him how my heart breaks. But I tell him mostly, please, God, do not let me be bitter. Don't let me hate this person. I don't know why it happened, but I want you to know I have no animosity towards this person. In the beginning, I did, because he hijacked my faith for a moment. He put me in a place where I almost no longer wanted to believe in a fair and just God. How dare you tamper with my faith? Because if you want to know, I've been down some tough roads.
Yes, ma'am.
I'll bend, but I won't break. I've been around a long, long time. Trust this, I got what it takes. And so, I am going to continue on this journey for my son, for the sons. God is listening and he hears all of this.
Yes.
So again, I want to thank my attorneys and all the people that aid and help them. And I want to thank the media for taking an interest in it. Listen, whether you are pro or anti, it doesn't matter. I'm not angry with you. I get a lot of messages on social media, which I don't read, but they come to me anyway, hurtful things. But I can say this, you didn't know my son,
Yeah.
and you don't know me.
Yeah.
I don't do social media, and I really don't care what you think. What you think is your problem, not mine. Because I stand here today with a God that surrounds me, that backs me up, and my children, my soldiers holding up the back. So I'm good to go. Bring it.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you so much, Miss Mary. Again, we want to thank Innocence Project Director, Florida, South Maryland, Barry Scheck, Innocence Project, Rodney Ellis, all those people who, it gets very expensive and it's very daunting fighting for people who are wrongfully accused, especially people of color. But those fine individuals kept fighting. And I think that's a big part of it today, that people continue to fight for truth and justice. With that, if you have questions, Attorney Daniels and I will try to take most of them, knowing that the family is in litigation currently in the civil case, and we are seeking full justice in criminal with these charges of Buck Aldridge, and we're seeking full justice in the civil case against Camden County. Questions? Yes.
How surprised were you to hear that the Trump Department of Justice, the one that's been asking for an expansion of qualified immunity for cops, actually went on and indicted this cop?
Okay. Yeah, I'll let Attorney Daniels go first.
Well, it's Department of Justice Department of Justice, Department of Justice. There's no such thing as a Trump Department of Justice or anybody else Department of Justice. This would be the Department of Justice. We respect the career-long prosecutors, the FBI agents and such, regardless of who's in the White House. That's not an issue here. The issue is what Buck Aldridge did. And I think anybody can see that video. You don't have to be a president or Department of Justice to see what happened. In fact, the district attorney in Brunswick Judicial Circuit should have did something about it. So it doesn't matter what department or who is over the Department of Justice at the time, but we are thankful that somebody saw wrongdoing, criminality, and brought the charges. Next question.
But I would just briefly say on that there, you know, frontline prosecutors care deeply about justice, and they investigate these cases, and they do it regardless of who's in power. And I honestly believe the reasons that they would be stopped from doing justice would be from somebody over them. But the frontline prosecutors, these career prosecutors, they want to do the right thing. And when you look at these videos of how this man continuously engaged in excessive force, it is troubling in your conscience. When you look at, and I implore you all to show the video of what's the
Mr. Cash.
A young man named Mr. Cash, and we will try to resend it out to the media, because if you excuse excessive force, then what you're really doing is emboldening it. And that's what the sheriff was doing. Thank you for your question.
And just say this investigation started well before 2025.
So the names of the victims aren't mentioned in the document, but according to the dates in the indictment under each count, it doesn't appear that Cure's case is included. Correct me if I'm wrong, but clarify how this indictment still works towards achieving justice for the Cure family and his loved ones.
Well, first and foremost, the person who killed Leonard Cure has 13 indictments. Is looking at 220 years in the Department of Federal Prison. So justice is, it may be slow, but at the same time, this is something that's major. It's justice, a start the turn of justice for this family. However, when you're talking about these other incidents that's happening in this indictment, this lead directly into what we complained about in our complaint. It's lead directly to what we talked about Sheriff Proctor allowing these rogue deputies to stand in the sheriff department. So let's be very clear. If Proctor did his job, then we wouldn't be standing before you right now. Leonard would be in his house in Gwinnett County, and we wouldn't be standing here. So it rolls directly into the claims that we have. I'm not going to get into the lawsuit because we're in the middle of litigation. But if you look at our lawsuit, we lay out all these different cases and claims and incidents that took place, including Mr. Cash incident in which the Department of Justice indicted Buck Aldridge on.
I will say this on that. You know, it's very telling when you think about those cases that were cited in the indictment. You see, as Attorney Daniel says, look like each one of them ratchets up a little more. It escalates each step. And so it is very troubling that either the sheriff or the DA were just asleep at the wheel at best, or they didn't care or condoned it at worst. And that means that there's more investigation to do of the Camden County Sheriff's Department. Because they could have reprimanded, terminated Buck Aldridge for any one of those previous incidents before he got to Leonard Cure. But instead of terminating him, they promoted him, which sent a message to the other deputies at the Sheriff's Department that this was okay, that you can violate the civil rights of citizens, that you can brutalize them, that we won't condemn it, we condone it, and by excusing it, we promoted it. That's what we articulate in our lawsuit.
Hey, let me say this. Civil rights claims, criminal claims, and Ben can tell you are very difficult to bring. They're very hard to bring. In fact, the fact that the Department of Justice has indicted on 4 of them, and not just indicted on 4 of them, those excessive use of force claims, and 9 of them dealing with false reports. Those are very different claims of the Department of Justice to bring. And you can look at it, it's a lot of times these claims are not popular to bring against law enforcement, but the Department of Justice saw fitting, dealing with Buck Aldridge, that he should be indicted. You know the questions? Hold on a second, right here.
Do you believe these indictments Aldridge is facing go far enough?
Do they go far enough? Well, that's not really a question for us. We want justice for Leonard Cure. Now, the measure of justice in which he's been indicted on other claims dealing with related to Leonard, we are very pleased that some measure of justice. But we are not pleased because we have not got full justice, and we still are pursuing that. And make no mistake about it, just because you have indictments can be amended, altered as such. This is what the Department of Justice see fitting now. And I keep saying Department of Justice, but it's really the Southern District of Georgia office, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia, that's under the Department of Justice. They the one who brought these charges to the grand jury. They the one who got these indictments. So it's a DA, although federal district attorney, a United States attorney that got these charges indicted.
And also, do you believe that Leonard will still be alive if Aldridge was held accountable for his previous actions? And also, were you guys surprised what the indictment included?
Unequivocally, we believe that Leonard Cure would be alive had they held Buck Aldridge accountable on the first time, you see in the case, second time, third time, fourth, 3 strikes you should have been out, but they gave him a 4th time in the 5th time.
And the 9th time he lied on the reports.
In the 9 times that he lied on the reports. So if they would have done anything to discipline him and reprimand him and not retain him, that interaction between Leonard Cure and Buck Aldridge would have never happened.
And to respond to that question, were we surprised? No, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Okay. You can go to the mic.
Okay. And I'll elaborate. He was fired from a previous police department for excessive abuse. He was fired. Again, if doctors lose their jobs, they lose their license, if they get fired for whatever reason, some type of malpractice or indiscrepancy, it's over. Attorneys, everyone have repercussions except this guy for whatever reason. So again, he should have never been hired. And had he not, my brother would be here with us, and we wouldn't be here.
And do you guys believe that's a failure of the justice system?
We believe it's a failure
Sure.
of Proctor.
The Sheriff Proctor.
Let him
What's your question?
You guys believe it's the failure with Cure being in prison for 16 years wrongfully and also his death. It's a failure of the justice system.
This is a catastrophic failure of the entire justice system. You know, you think about it, man, it's innocent. They got an alibi, an ATM machine where he's supposed to be at. You know, you don't get that's one of the strongest alibis you can have. And to stay in prison for 16 years just to get out and try to get his life together just to be killed by somebody that's in the criminal justice. Somebody who should never been a part of criminal justice if the people in charge would have done their job. So it is an absolutely catastrophic failure that have let Leonard Cure down. And hopefully, prayerfully, that this team of lawyers and the prosecutors, so we're going to include the prosecutors, can get some measure of justice, because Mother Cure, we can't get full justice. The only way we get full justice if we can go back in time and stop Buck Aldridge or tell Leonard to take another route.
Absolutely.
Or tell Leonard not to go to the ATM machine that day and stay in your house. We can't get that, but it was absolutely catastrophic failure. Hold on, any other questions? We get some
I
more
want to
questions over here.
respond to what he said, because I can't give enough flowers to the Innocence Project. And the system, we often argue, when we argue for wrongfully convicted people, that it is systemic, implicit bias in most of the cases. In layman terms, when we argue for these wrongfully incarcerated, mostly people of color, is that no matter what the situation is, it seems that black people and brown people get the most of injustice and the least of justice. So every time we have a day like this, we have to celebrate. We really have to let people know this is not something that happens on a regular basis. This is rare, when you can get a young man exonerated of a system that never meant to see the humanity in him. And now Buck Aldridge on that roadside never saw the humanity in him. I don't know if the sheriff or the DA, because they had a chance to do something before the federal prosecutors and they didn't. So it is the implicit bias that is baked within the system at the root that continues to have outcomes like these.
Let's be reminded, we are in a place where a young man decided to take a jog and was gunned down, and no charge was brought. We're talking about the same judicial circuit, that's Ahmaud Arbery. So justice may be slow in this case, but we are pushing forward to seek it. No matter how you hide it through the district attorney's office or whatever means, we seeking justice for this family. Any other questions?
All due respect, it seems these issues go much deeper than just Buck Aldridge, just the Camden County Sheriff, the Sheriff's Office. What can be done to fix this? How can it be fixed?
You know, we want good police officers. I want good police officers. I used to work in law enforcement. So I understand that. But the ones who are using that badge as some type of power ego, who's coming off and hurting and harming and using force, unlawful force, continue to get away with it, those are the one that drags down good law enforcement. If you read the Department of Justice release, they made it sure that accountability, doesn't matter if you are law enforcement, accountability should be had, because that hurts the whole, that hurts the masses. Some people say bag the blue, I understand that, but at the same time, you gotta bag the good blue, not the bad blue. And if they do something, you should hold them accountable. So absolutely right, Attorney Crump goes all over the nation. We got cases all over the nation. We see this day in and day out. And I always tell him the day that we can retire from being a civil rights attorney is a great day.
Yeah.
But the only reason we cannot retire because people continue to back those who are willing to break the law under the color law. And when we hold those accountable, maybe we can break that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe we can break it at that point and have justice for those who are deserving of it, and justice not for the Cure family, but for the other families that Buck Aldridge, the other families that the Camden County Sheriff Office deputies terrorized, because this is not a one-off. It's been indictments after indictments after indictments. You seen one just go to prison.
Yeah.
This is not just Buck Aldridge. This is an epidemic. And I keep telling y'all this, and I said it over and over again. I said it last time, Ben. This is not just a bad apple. It was a bad orchard. It's a rotten root. Now it's time to get picked up, rooted out.
And we do intend on all of those individuals in this federal indictment. We believe that they too have a right to relief. And so to the Camden County Sheriff's Department, we're going to hold you fully responsible.
You got to get in contact with us.
So you guys, obviously know this case has drawn national momentum and attention. How do you just plan to keep the momentum going beyond today?
Obviously, we're in this together. The media is the fourth branch of government. And to follow the question he just asked, what can be done about the system? If we all take an oath to hold the system accountable to everybody to have equal justice under the law. That's what it's about, equal justice under the law. And that's why it would be poetic justice for Leonard Cure, who was wrongfully convicted for 16 and a half years to be killed by Buck Aldridge, and this sheriff's deputy who had a history of excessive force to then be convicted of the crimes that he has been accused of and be sentenced to 16 and a half years. That's the poetic justice that we seek, and it's examples like that that can make the system better, when everybody knows that no one is above the law. And that's why I'm so thankful to Attorney Daniels, Attorney Robinson, Alfonso McClendon, all these great lawyers like Seth Miller and Barry Shett and Rodney Ellis in Houston, Texas. These people every day fight to say we can make the system better, America, despite the obstacles that people perceive are in our path. We can make the system better if we just fight for a better system.
All right, a couple more questions.
I think that's it.
So, should Aldridge been indicted with the incident of Leonard? Do that, think that?
He should have been indicted, we think, on the local level for all those instances. And we think, as we allege in our complaint, that he violated Leonard's civil rights there on the side of the street before he killed him.
Like the judge said in the Breonna Taylor sentencing, if you violate civil rights, you violate the law. If you violate the law, you should be held liable criminally, not just civilly. So absolutely, he should have been indicted.
And that's why all those individuals who are in that count, we are encouraging them to come forward, because many people thought that there was nothing we could do. He just brutalized me, used excessive force. And in many of those cases, they were charged with crimes. And they had to go to jail while the abuser got to go free. But hopefully we're encouraging them to contact us and come forward so we can make the full record, have their version of everything that happened as well.
Last one, Ray.
Maybe you can speak on this, Mr. Cook, because you mentioned that you've met Leonard before, but if the family or Miss Mary is able to talk about this, I'd like to hear it. If Leonard were here today, what do you think he'd want this moment to mean?
Yeah, we're going to let the family speak on it. I just say Leonard was one of the most gentle people I ever met. At that gala, he shook every hand. He told everybody, thank you for not giving up on us. He never said me. He said, thank you for not giving up on us, because he connected himself with all the other wrongfully convicted people all across America. Wallace?
Ma'am, could you repeat that question, please?
Yes, absolutely. So if Leonard were here today, what do you think he'd want this moment to mean?
He would want this moment to mean justice for his mom. He would want this moment to mean justice for his family, his nieces and nephews, and for other victims. He'd want this moment to change the world, make it a better place.
Can I say something?
Yes, ma'am. You get the.
You
wanna say
asked
something?
about
Okay.
momentum
Last
a little
word.
earlier.
Step to the mic.
You asked about momentum. How do you keep momentum going? My face, your face. Today it's me. Tomorrow it could be your family. That in mind, and we all reaching for the right thing and doing the right thing. And those people that we've chosen to be our protectors need to be held accountable. It's not bias. You have a job. Do your job. I'm a nurse. If I'm on duty,
Do your job.
if I'm on duty and I do something wrong, I have to deal with that. That's all. It's not asking more. It's not asking less. Do your job. When you're hired, you get a job description. You have a license. Utilize that. If you don't, then maybe you should be a panhandler or something like that. Thank you.
Thank you all. Justice for Leonard Cure.
Justice for my
Justice
baby.
for Leonard Cure. Justice for Leonard Cure.
Justice for Leonard Cure.
Justice.
Thank you all.
Justice. No.
They got somebody, but I don't know, like.